Hello everyone. Welcome to a Friday evening episode of Crypto with English. So, I would like to introduce to you all a very special artist, Latvian-born, UK-based Julia Sidlovska. So, for anybody who was, looking on social media this week, the promo content displayed much of her art, and I would describe it, and I think this is quite, appropriate and accurate, as psychedelic and, surreal art. And the definition of psychedelic and surreal are, colors and textures that, cause a feeling of otherworldliness, something that bends consciousness, something that makes you question consciousness, and something that also expands consciousness. So, looking at the art and looking at the styles, and you could say the overall view of it, that's what it very much reminded me of. So, for those who classic rock, if you're thinking of like Led Zeppelin, thinking of Deep Purple, you're thinking of like some American artists like the Grateful Dead and George Clinton. A lot of that style of rock in their artwork, portrayed and showed that type of art style, in a lot of it, which is, by the way, still very popular. You go to any Spencer's in the United States, you're gonna find plenty of blacklight posters that have this kind of stuff. But by the way, I mean that as a total compliment. So Julia, thank you very much for coming on. I looked at your entire collection, on OpenSea, Rareable, and I thought to myself, like, wow, like this is kind of like a kaleidoscope of like I guess you could say colors and patterns and stuff like that. So, tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me how you got started in making, NFT art, especially at such a young age as well. So I always feel it's always better to be earlier when it comes to anything. So I think you have a great head start. So anyway, about yourself and how you got into this.
All right, so thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here. And yeah, so I started not that long ago when I was maybe 18 or something. When I moved to the UK, it's kind of when it changed a bit for me. Is
Yeah.
I took art at college, which I wasn't planning to do because I didn't know what I wanted to do and
Right.
wasn't sure what I liked. So I just took art for the sake of it, and
Yeah.
I really loved it. And I was never good at like portraiture or some professional art, and I never was seeking to
Right.
develop to that stage. But I just liked creating stuff since I was like a kid, and I started with making collages, to be honest, which they looked a lot different to what I'm doing now. Um, so what I did was just making photos together, putting them in a different ways, and creating some sort of surreal
Right.
images, which I'm pretty sure I still have on my OpenSea, but I've kind of rebranded myself a little
Right.
bit, and I only have the digital art now. But I used to have collages, and that's how I started my NFT journey, really, because
Got it.
I had those collages, like had loads of them from my coursework from college,
Yeah.
and then that's when NFTs started to kind of expand and hyped up. It was in 2020, I believe, or 2021. Yeah, no,
Right. Yeah.
2021 was, yeah, in February. And my boyfriend got into it before me, and he just told me, like, "Have you heard about NFTs?" And I was like, "No, what? What's NFTs? What's that?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "You should go for it. You should put yourself out there, upload your art, and
By the
see
way,
what."
smart guy. He's absolutely right. So
I'm so grateful he said
timing
that.
is impeccable.
Yeah, and so I hesitated for a bit. Said, "No, I'm not doing that. There's no point. No one's gonna see me. No one's gonna notice me." And then I just agreed and uploaded the art on OpenSea. And believe it or not, 2 weeks after, I had four sales from a huge collector, Aito. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. But he's a huge whale apparently in the space. And I was over the moon. I was at work on that day. I was actually working in a warehouse, so different to what I have now. Um, and I realized I sold my artworks when I was on shift. I used work
Wow.
computer, and I was like, oh, what?
Yeah. Could you remind everybody, or could you tell everybody which artist it was, and and of course I'll clarify any pronunciation or whatever else.
The collector.
Yeah, the one. I guess you could say the purchaser of your
Yeah,
first
it's
masterpiece.
spelled Aito. Aito.
Ito.
If
Okay, Ito. Yeah.
maybe Aito. Yeah. Sorry for pronunciation.
No, no, no problem. I'm gonna make sure I got it right too. So.
And I don't even know if it's a man or a woman. So I'll just call them they. And they actually ended up buying more of my art later on, which I'm really grateful for, and it made me, it encouraged me to carry on.
Right.
um,
So,
yeah.
so when you sold that first piece, did you like if you don't mind me asking, how much was it for?
Uh, right. I remember it being that like the whole bunch was over $2,000 something.
Oh, very nice.
Um, but I'm not gonna lie, I've set my bars pretty high from the start.
It paid off. That's
Zero
good.
point 0.1 ETH, 0.2 ETH I had, maybe even 0.3 ETH, one of them
Right.
were. And he bought four, they were priced differently.
Wow.
But yeah, I got like nearly an ETH from that.
Yeah. So that
So
very day, did you like resign from your job? Like, hey, listen, by the
I
way,
was really close to doing
here's
that. I
my
was
resignation.
like,
Have a great weekend.
but actually, the same day, I got my bike stolen. Because I was
Oh,
traveling to work on my bike, and
yeah.
I just consider that as a universe sign. I didn't care about the loss of a bike. I didn't
Right.
care because I was happy. I was an NFT artist officially, and it
Yeah,
sold
absolutely.
works, and it was just the best
Right.
thing ever.
And the first four pieces of art, what were their names, or what was the name of that specific collection? Your first one.
Oh, what was it called? I think I only had. Um, I may have
Or were
uploaded
they
that.
just like individual, like I guess you could say pieces, not really part of like a larger
Yeah,
theme?
they weren't really part of a collection. It
Got it.
was just, yeah, they were all one of ones.
Right. Good stuff. Yeah, because I'm thinking like, many years ago, if I was 18 and let's say I pulled off the same thing at I think whatever job I had when I was, 18, I did like a few things like construction and like, some other stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here, guys. That's what that would have been my reflex. What, two
Yeah,
grand doing digital art? That's what I would have done. But it seems like in the scope of things, I think despite having, shitty day, having your bike stolen, it seems like fate and fortune kind of evened out quite nicely.
yeah.
Yeah,
I would say even like the positive outcome outweighed the negative.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
so yeah.
So, so after that, so after you made that first big sale, what were your next steps as far as making art and creating collections and just kind of getting it out there? Because like I said, for somebody like me, and I look at this, a lot of this like psychedelic surreal style, reminds me of kind of that era of, you could say, rock bands and kind of the corresponding art where like you look at their album covers. I mean, even the style of music sounds very out of this world. You look at their album covers and posters, it's this almost like this overload, and I mean this in a good way, of like
Mhm.
colors and sensations and stuff like that. And so I wanted to know, was there a certain celebrity, artist, or anybody of that sort in your mind that kind of influenced how you were going about this journey as an NFT artist?
Um, yeah, there was an influence, but it wasn't an artist. It was a cartoon. It was an Australian cartoon. You
Okay.
may know it. You may know it's called The Big Less Show.
The what?
The Big Less Show.
Oh, that sounds familiar. I'm not. Yeah, I'll have to look that one up, but that does sound vaguely familiar.
It's really funny. You should watch it.
I think I will
But
now.
that influenced my digital painting. Because for collages, I don't think there was particular artists who I tried to make similar art to. I just did what I thought looks good and
Right.
what I like myself.
Good.
But
And
then I decided to switch directions a little bit and try out new styles, and that's when I
right.
started drawing instead of
Right.
just
And
doing.
as far as creating collages, which you have done with various pieces, why does that style work for you? Like, why? I guess my question is, why use the collage approach, and why there's like a big advantage, or why it's very helpful in, let's say, presenting, some of these ideas.
I'll explain. It's just, well, first, I'm lazy and it's easy. I like to create things, but
Right.
I'm very bad with those Adobe programs and all
Oh,
of this
okay.
stuff.
Like making like vectors and all that other kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I use Paint, Microsoft Paint, simple
Oh,
app
okay.
like everyone can use.
Wow.
And the photos that I used, they were all, I didn't search for them, didn't go anywhere for them. I just used those photos I had either on my phone or my laptop,
Yeah.
saved somewhere. That they may not have been like my photos. It's just something that I found. And when I was still going to college, my art teacher told me that this sort of style is called kitsch. It's basically, it translates from German as something like tasteless or like bad
Oh,
taste. Yeah, I know
wow.
it doesn't sound good, but in a way, it's sort of what I do, and it kind of involves using old stuff and recreating it.
Right.
And I quite like this idea of, like, I don't know, recycling, if you like.
Yeah.
So I have those photos on my phone. What do I do with them? If I don't want to post them, I'll just find, I don't know, I'll I'll cut something out of that photo. I'll put it on another photo, and that looks, oh, it's unusual. I
Right.
like it, and that that's it.
Oh,
That's
very
what I
nice.
did.
So, going about this, so, after you sell essentially your first four pieces of art, pretty much make a killing on that, to say the least. That's a nice chunk of change, for one day, especially when you're just starting this.
Yeah.
Along the way, were there any people, let's say their classmates, family members, colleagues, acquaintances that more or less try to discourage you going in this direction? Because I notice a lot of people, whether they're in NFTs or blockchain broadly, everybody kind of has some sort of like hero's journey or entrepreneurs type of journey in this. So I would imagine, because like NFTs, you know, I think they may still have a little bit of a level of controversy, because I hear it all the time. People are like, "Oh, is this art? Is this not art?" So, there's some of those like rumblings. But did you encounter any of that personally, as you were going about this?
To be honest, not really,
Well,
because
that's
at
good.
that time when I started, it there was no negativity at all. Well, at least I didn't see any.
Right.
The community was so pure, and everyone was so hyped. Like everyone was like, there was no FUD like there is now.
Right.
So yeah, back then it was just go for it. You can do it. Everyone was like supporting everyone, but it still is, and it's still like this, depending on like, how you look at it. But obviously,
Yeah.
there will be people who like don't believe in NFTs. They just don't understand them, like
Right. Right.
dummies. We're two people.
Yeah.
But, my parents never understood that. They still kind of, they're not sure what I do for a living. She's just on her phone all the time. um, but they're obviously proud of me. That no one's ever said something that I can't make it or it's something I shouldn't do. Not
Right.
really.
Got it.
And I'm glad that I have this surrounding that supports me and everyone around me believes in me. So that keeps me going.
Yeah, and that's awesome. So you're based out of Birmingham, correct?
It's not far from
Not from.
Birmingham, it's actually
Right. But
Coventry, but it's the same area, yeah.
right. And I'm very familiar with that part of England. I've been all up and down, Coventry, Stratford, Nuneaton, all of those areas, the West Midlands. So I have a good idea, and definitely have to go visit again. But my question is, how is the UK NFT art scene right now? Because like here in the US, we have like kind of I mean, blockchain in general is very robust and kind of blowing up, and I mean this in a good way. So you have like
Mhm.
New York, Miami, Austin, Texas, Los Angeles, that are coming out with a lot of artists, various collections, and different trends and different styles. How is it in the UK right now when it comes to NFT art?
Um, I haven't seen obviously as many. projects and companies based in the UK as there are in America. Or, yeah, America's the biggest in NFTs, but I'm seeing a lot of London-based like agencies and companies, but NFT artists. Mm, I mean, I'm sure there is plenty. There's loads of them. They're everywhere.
Right,
I
right.
but I don't know many. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'd imagine there, if not already, I think there's going to be a lot of good projects, both artists collections, and you could even say artist collectives, kind of working cooperatively. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff coming out. I would even say, especially in the UK, of course.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a very, very exciting year in this space, to
Yeah,
say the very
absolutely.
least. So as you've been going about and creating this stuff, um, have you been in a position where other artists are trying to essentially, ask you, or have you mentored them to get into this space? Because I would imagine, probably, colleagues, acquaintances, they're like, wow, like, Julia's got like a real good thing going on here. So I would imagine, like, do you have people like, kind of like bugging you for advice, or, asking you to help them get started, or, just some sort of type of, arrangement where, like, you can kind of show them the tools of the trade?
It's usually me who asks for advice and tools.
Oh,
um, but my friends, my best friend actually recently got into NFTs, but not as an artist, but more as a
an
grinder,
investor. Oh,
an
okay.
investor kind of. Well, yeah, more of a grinder. She likes to look into NFT projects and get
Right.
whitelists from that. Um, but I don't know many artists, and they just, yeah.
Sure. Right.
If anything, I would ask for advice.
Got it. So what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to do a screen share of your OpenSea collection and art. So, just to kind of convey and communicate, what exactly I'm describing when I see this, and of course, how you're describing your art. Some of the, I guess you could say, the psychedelic and surreal, you could say, impressions that come out of this. So bear with me one moment.
All right.
All right, so here we have Julia's collection on OpenSea. So you can find her at Latvia's Got Talent. So I see this, and like I said, it evokes a various array of experiences. So for instance,
Yeah.
the first one here. Oh, by the way, this is all very cool. So that's why that's why I'm bringing up the screen here. So this one is "Welcome to My Own Universe." So this essentially looks like some sort of, and by the way, I mean this as a compliment, like a fever dream like type of scenario. So you got, and by the way, like, feel free to elaborate and cut me off, but like, you have this very animated, uh you could say enthusiastic looking tree creature of sorts, and with the
Mhm.
background of mountains with, you could say, two pink eyes coming out of the background, and what looks like on top, sun rays. So like, looking at this, I a lot of for me, like, a lot of impressions come to mind, and I personally think it's pretty cool. So what
Thank
was
you.
what was the, I guess you could say, the motivation or passion behind this one?
I'm gonna be honest. I never have an idea of what I'm gonna draw when I pick up a pen. It's just like I start off with something.
Yeah,
Like with this one, I start off with drawing an onion, like you see in the middle, like a
right.
few layers. Obviously, it doesn't look like an onion anymore because I changed it.
Oh, okay, okay.
But
So
like
that's an onion in the center, right?
in the sense, it used
Oh,
to be.
okay, okay, okay. I kind of see what you mean now. It looks like it has like the layers on top. So okay, got it.
Yeah. And then I went on to draw the lips, the leaf lips.
Yeah, yeah,
So that it was kind of like a tree with leaves, but then I noticed the similarity of it, like the shape looked like
yeah.
it could be a lip, then it drew a nose and an
Right.
eyes. It just, when I start, I can't stop adding new stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I drew where it led me.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Let's
really like drawing mountains and like sun, something. natural like landscapes, but obviously I prefer to draw characters. But
Yeah,
wherever possible, I also draw some sort of
got it.
trees or something.
Got it. So this one here under sketch shit. By the way, I like the name. So this
Thank
one is
you.
called Casinopolis. I guess I'm pronouncing that correctly. So this looks like a kind of a social commentary of like the rat race, as they say. Just maybe just people chasing materialistic things and being crazy and miserable at the same time. That's kind of what I'm getting from it.
Yeah. I drew this after going to a casino for the first
Okay.
time, and I just had like these emotions and impressions after having like this first experience, which
Right.
I didn't quite like. I didn't see much point in going there. It's just you're basically wasting your money.
Yeah. Yeah.
You invest in something if you gamble, if you like not sure where to spend the money on.
Right. Yeah, I mean, as they say, in the end, the house eventually wins. So, and I think with gambling, I think 9 out of 10 people don't know when to stop. So I guess that's
Mhm.
unfortunately what makes it very powerful and destructive at the same time too. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I just decided why not draw my
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah, and quite accurately. So this one is, this one is pretty interesting. Naughty Santa. So, this is what kind of comes to mind when I look at this. So this kind of looks like I think it's this old mythological creature called a chimera. So it essentially has different body parts of different like animals, so to say. So it
Mhm.
has like an eagle's wings, or it has like a lion's body and talons, and it will have like some sort like a tiger's face. Kind of like a hodgepodge of different animals combined together. So, what's the concept behind naughty Santa? And of course, I guess you could say the the name on the beard, slag, which I think anybody from the UK or remotely familiar with UK shows, I think we all know what that means. So, if you could
Mhm.
elaborate.
Yeah, well, by no means I was serious when I was
Of
drawing
course,
it.
no, but
It
it's
was
very
just
interesting. So I have to ask.
yeah. Well, I drew this one for the sake of fun, really, and didn't have like a concept behind it because like all the rest albums they were just made like I don't know. I wasn't planning to.
Right.
Um, but I think I started it by drawing normal Santa. Then I thought it's boring, so I'm gonna change colors. I'm gonna change the texture. I'm gonna just
Yeah.
make it look ridiculous, and yeah, drew a little penis over there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it now. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
nice.
I don't know why it's blue. It just is. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
And I thought,
It was kind of like what it reminded me of. What is it? They used to sell them at grocery stores. I don't know if they even do it anymore, but it's like these little like booklets where there's like hidden images in the pictures if you stare at it long enough. I
mhm.
I, 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 I forgot the term. It's right off the. It's. I'm drawing a blank right now, but that's kind of like what it reminds me because I didn't notice that at first, and now you mentioned like,
Yeah, the more
oh,
you
okay,
look at it, the more you see. That's
yes,
why I like adding these little details. Just
right. He has
yeah.
two blue phalluses on his head. Very nice, and a beard that says slag on it. That's awesome. And what's in the background? It looks like sea waves to me. Are those sea waves? Are they clouds, or is it blue
It's
fire?
more
Or
sea waves, I'd
sea waves?
say.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, it's 2022, so maybe Santa is in need of maybe some kind of new change in style or makeover or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I'll tell you this,
It's just
like,
new gen Santa.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is this is the Web3 2022 Santa. That's awesome. All right, so going forward, all right, this one I was looking at earlier.
Mhm.
Valentine. So, yeah, explain this one because this looks very, very cool. But like I said, on the theme of psychedelic and like surreal art, this
Mhm.
is kind of one of the ones that like came to mind. As I was looking at your work.
Yeah, so this one well, the idea of Valentine came to me afterwards when I added these hearts and the flower and it kind of lined up perfectly for me. Um, but I started it with these things in the middle that go
Right.
upwards. They reminded me of hairbrush. I
Okay.
just
Yeah, I
like
can see
this
that
part
now.
and
Yeah.
I thought I would just carry on doing it and see where it leads me, what I want to do next.
Yeah.
And then I went on to draw this hand and this man.
Yeah.
And then, yeah,
Yeah.
then he just ended up having a flower, which associates with Valentine's Day when people just give each other
Yeah.
love gifts. Um, and the moon is just. I like to
Right.
just add these elements of NFTs
Yeah.
and
Well,
some elements that you can associate with NFTs.
got it. So I would imagine anybody, who's, I guess you could say, ingesting or, using psychotropic substances, they're going to be in for one hell of a ride looking at this. So this is a pretty cool piece of art, just with even just some coffee in my system. So this is very very cool to say the least.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Moving
I feel bad
onwards.
for not being able to explain it that well because like I just
Yeah,
make it without any second thought.
yeah, yeah. Okay, and this is like another one that comes to mind too. So, Hoodis, as far as that like a surreal, psychedelic, type of art. So,
Mhm.
this is very cool, and in fact, I think it's so cool I can't even speculate on it. So, if you could describe what's going on here.
Well, it's hard because that is just what my hands drew. I can't explain.
Yeah,
Uh, but all I did was well, I wanted to draw something symmetrical that
yeah,
looks aesthetically pleasing with lots of colors and that looks
yeah,
kind of trippy. Even though I wasn't tripping when I was drawing it. Some of my paintings I was quite high while drawing them. But this one I was
sure.
completely sober and it was just um,
Highly inspired, so to say.
yeah. Um, yeah, I just wanted to create some kind of an atmosphere with like blue sky in the background, some um, actually I do remember now. I had this idea of drawing something similar, like to. You might not get this reference, but old Russian cartoons. They had these sort of
I think
costumes.
you like those Cold War era cartoons from like the 50s and 60s and 70s, like that.
Uh, Possibly, but
Or is
they
it
haven't
or is it
changed
more
much.
or is it more recent than that?
Um, I'd say both, but
Okay.
because like this sort of style refers to the newest
Okay.
newest cartoons, but this costume that this character wears is it reminds me of the old dresses that
Okay.
Russian ladies used to wear, even though it's not even a woman, or maybe it could be.
Okay.
We don't know. Um, and that little creature on its back is something like its inner personality or something.
Wow.
Emotion.
S-
It could
So
be
like
anything.
yeah, so like kind of looking at this now, and especially after you explained it. So is this outfit, is this supposed to be some sort of like ballroom or like dinner party type of getup? Is that what it's supposed to be? Combine
Well, it could be.
Okay.
Yeah, according to the costume they're wearing, it could be like.
Yeah, like
Women.
because what comes to mind maybe is like I think it was like pre-communist Russia, where I think it was all the old, I guess, traditional French-styled outfits of like men and women, from those days. So that's yeah, that's what kind of came to mind after you described it anyway.
Yeah. And the background is just. I love drawing
Yeah,
clouds. I draw
yeah.
them all. Yeah.
Yeah, because this looks like this looks like a video game with like an acid trip, but it's also like it's also kind of like a really cool, cartoon. So like
Mm,
off the bat, I don't know what's going on, but I also want to know what's going on too because
yeah.
it makes one curious. So it says,
I
"Who
really
this?
like the
Don't you
idea
look
of.
lost?" I'm like,
Uh,
"Whoa, what's going on
sorry.
here?" Yeah, after you.
Yeah, I really like the idea of just drawing different scenarios, different characters. I like to imagine myself being a part of a team that makes cartoons. 'Cause I
Yeah,
really like animated shows. I love
yeah.
watching them on Netflix, especially those like Midnight Gospel or Rick and Morty
Oh, Rick and
is
Morty. Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. That,
Um,
that's a good one.
yeah, and there's one I can't remember the name. It's based off Big Mouth, I believe.
Oh, is it? You know what I think of? I think of like Big Mouth, Rick and Morty, BoJack Horseman. Um, there's like a few others that are kind of that style. But
There's one
I
I
know what you're talking
watched
about.
recently. It's about emotions, and they all have like they're all different creatures, each
Oh,
emotion.
oh, I don't know about that one, but I'll have to
Um,
look on Netflix. Yeah, let me know if you recall the name later. Awesome.
yeah,
So moving forward.
yeah. Let's move on.
All right. So is this one here, Sponge Girl? So is this one? I guess you could say a celebration or like an ode to SpongeBob SquarePants.
It's my favorite cartoon ever. I've been watching it
Yeah,
all
yeah, it's a
year.
great cartoon.
And I just wanted to create a female version of SpongeBob.
Yeah, and I
It's a bit
definitely think
long.
I definitely think you nailed it here. So I would imagine, I think if SpongeBob was human and was also a female, I think this is pretty accurate. So
Mhm.
yeah, this is pretty cool. All right, I'll have to check this one out again later. All right. So moving forward. All right. So Jesus mate. Yeah, talk about this one. So this clearly looks like Jesus Christ, had he not been crucified, given the finger, and was probably in a punk rock band. That's what that's what I'm thinking when I look at him. Like, yeah, this guy could have been in the Sex Pistols back in the day, or he could have been in a variety of those kind of bands. So
Yeah, I see him as a rebel in this one,
yeah,
against. Well, I don't have anything against religion, but I I do not like the way people get brainwashed with all
sure,
these religions and like they let others to believe in something that it should be their own choice basically. They
right,
shouldn't be like persuaded to believe in something.
right.
But that's a complete different story. So another
Yeah.
another
No,
book.
and that's a very, very good and fair point. And listen, I'm sure we can only speculate, but let's say if Jesus Christ was to take a walk around society in this day and age, especially let's say, especially if he socialized with some of the more pious, ultra religious crowds, I don't think he would like a lot of what's going on. And maybe
No.
let's say if he was speaking English or maybe ancient Aramaic, I think he would have a lot of criticisms to say to perhaps people who use his name.
Yeah,
One
possibly.
one could argue anyway. But yeah, this is very, very very cool. So moving forward from that, so yeah, speaking of like I said, surreal, you know, psychedelic art. This one, I like the name already. I have no idea how to name this. So
Because I don't have an idea
so
how to
yeah, so
name.
I think this also has to be one of the best examples of that, psychedelic, surreal art. So, off the top of my head, this looks like, if I was to guess, this is like half gummy bear, half mermaid, uh, maybe on a different planet of sorts.
Possibly, yeah. I'd say it's just a state, a mental state of when you're like somewhere in the clouds, when
Yeah,
you're
right,
not on this planet.
right, right. Well, this one is definitely I think one of my favorite ones because, like I said, you're just bombarded with like the colors and trying to figure out um, what's the I guess you could say what's this what kind of story is this piece telling? And by the way, I love cartoons too. So like looking at this, it's like where does this draw inspiration from? What does this remind me of? Those are like things that come to mind when I see this. So I think that's pretty cool as
Mhm.
well. So like on the mermaid, like the patterns, I guess, at the bottom where I think maybe like the hips and the waist start to become more fish like. What's going on there? Is that like is I see like clouds and like a I guess you could say a spade from like a playing cards deck.
Yeah, well, that was probably because I'd been playing cards before and I just wanted
Okay.
to, yeah, basically all my art somehow reflects on like on my life in a way. Like I,
Yeah.
I don't mean to create a narrative around it, but I just want to put it there to kind of I don't know record it. That's my way of telling my story.
Right.
Um, but it's I'd say it's just like a creature.
Yeah.
Well, the head
Absolutely.
reminds me of a dolphin. The
Oh,
mouth,
okay. Yeah. Yeah. That looks like. All right. That makes sense. Yeah. Wow.
the eyes are something of a cartoon character style.
Wow. Hold on. And
Um,
there's even faces in the background too, right? Am I looking
yeah,
at the like in the upper
I
right hand
always try
corner?
to put something in the background. So, like
Wow.
I said, I like adding small details. And the longer you look at it, the more you see.
Yeah.
But they're
Absolutely.
more abstract. I just played with the lines.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Pretty cool. All right. Moving forward. So
I like that sketch. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
so
my favorite.
Pillowman backslash Doodles. So uh, this one is, I guess you could say, a sketch, a stencil, right along those lines.
Yeah, I never ended up coloring it, but I was going to because I really like the sketch now. I just saved it in paint and I was like, I'm gonna come back to it and I'm gonna finish it. That never
Yeah,
happened because I quite like the black and white version of it, so I decided
yeah,
to.
and you know what? It works here. So, it may have worked out for the better actually, having this be, in its original state. So, who is or what is Pillowman? It looks like obviously somebody with a pillow for a head. I guess behind it, I don't know if that's like a halo or like a giant pillow, but it looks like kind of either a moon or like a giant
It is
cookie.
on the
Oh, it's a
yeah.
moon.
It's
Okay.
like a whole planet, and there's stuff going on. There's buildings in the background. There's an
Yeah.
elephant. There's something else I can't remember, but I drew the mountains as always. I
Yeah.
try to put them in.
Right. So, and
On
he's
the
got
left
like,
there, it's there's kind of a reflection of my current maybe issues, maybe like
yeah,
the inner thoughts that I thought I had to put on there. It's like
got it.
stepping upwards, like
Yeah.
building up my path, my career path, and not knowing what to do, and all these concerns. And I also put year there, 2021, and
Right.
it's question marks. It's all about me not being not sure what to do next, basically.
Wow.
But on
Yeah.
the
And
right is all the influences,
so
like
this is kind
the
of the current world to the right of, I guess you could say, the figurative you in this. So the Pillow Man, he's got presumably what looks like a joint in his mouth. To the farther right, it looks like a picture of Elon Musk's face,
yeah.
and the person with the wine, or I guess you could say the face that's next to that glass of
It's
wine. Who's that?
DiCaprio meme. I just
Oh,
like this.
that's Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay. Okay, I look at it
Not
closer.
the
That makes
best,
sense now.
but
Yeah, that makes sense now. And above it, there's like a flying saucer, and also what looks like a jellyfish-looking spaceship attached to kind of this disassembled astronaut of sorts.
yeah, that's just a cartoony astronaut. I thought I'd put it there since we're like on the moon.
Wow, wow, pretty cool. All right, moving forward. And afterwards we'll go to the other sites that you have some of your work on as well. So this one is kind of interesting. So,
Mhm. Yeah, that's
HTTPS Norden
inspired from the
Web3.com.
show.
Who's that?
That's inspired from the Big Last show that I was talking
Oh,
about.
okay, got it. All right.
Yeah, there's a character, he's called Norton. It's really funny. They all are.
Yeah, yeah,
He
absolutely.
doesn't have blue hair in the show, but I do. So there we go.
All right, cool. Hey, this one's pretty trippy as well. All right, and maybe just one or two more here. That first off, I think this is probably one of the funniest likenesses of Michael Jackson
Very
I've seen.
controversial.
Jacob Max. And by the way, for all viewership out there, first, I don't think there's anything controversial about this type of depiction of Michael Jackson and what he's stating in the, I guess you could say, the comic book little speech bubble there. But what was behind creating this kind of likeness of Michael Jackson?
Um, I wasn't planning on like making it in this light. Um, I just wanted to draw a celebrity and epic Michael Jackson. So I drew him, and then I
Yeah,
kept this artwork without any text for a long time, and then I came back to it. I found it, and I was like, I need to add something to it, and I
right.
just put text, and I liked it like this. It
It's
kind of
funny. It's really funny. I look at it, Jacob Maxon, and then this is great. Yeah,
Yeah, the name came last. It was just whenever I upload the NFTs, I never know how I'm gonna name them,
yeah.
and when I upload, it's when I brainstorm on the title.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I know Michael Jackson's probably been dead for about, I think about 12 years now, or something along that. But what we do in this life echoes in eternity, as was said in the Gladiator movie. So, Michael, great music, but that's on you. That is on you, Michael Jackson, or Michael Maxon rather.
Yeah, it's on
All
the
right.
blockchain.
Yeah, it's on the blockchain as well. All right, so never the one to shy away from controversy. So this one here. So
Right.
tell me about
I
this one.
I have no explanation for that. It's just funny. I I thought it would be funny to have this word in my
Right.
NFT collection.
And by the way, I noticed this like in the UK versus the US, people tend to use this word more often. So I think in the US, maybe, people might just reflexively just say asshole instead.
Yeah.
Something like that. When I went to the UK, I feel like a lot of people were saying this one quite a bit
Mhm.
more.
Yes, it's more of a British thing, I
Right,
feel.
yeah.
It
Got it.
is whenever someone says it, it makes me laugh. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I agree. Awesome. All right, let's keep going. So let's go to bear with me one sec. So we're on OpenSea. Let's hop to Rarible right now.
Oh, I only have one thing there. I
Oh,
think.
was it? Oh, okay. I thought you.
Oh, actually, no.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I know what it
These are
is now. It's all
right.
SolidWorks. So
These are the
there's
what?
some
Oh,
the
these are the
SolidWorks are
solo works
sold.
you said.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
you can see collages here.
Got it. All right. So like I was saying before, going along the lines of you could say the surreal and the psychedelic and the mind bending, this one is pretty cool, and I wanted to ask you about this one. So this one's called Mona City. It's not for
Mm-hmm.
sale, unfortunately. I think this one is pretty good. What's going on here? And I'll zoom in a little bit
So
more as well.
on the left and on the right is the buildings from New
Yeah,
York City.
yeah,
Actually, most of my collages, the very first ones, they were inspired and made of photos that I made while being in New York. And it
very
was my
nice.
first time in New York, and I fell in love with this city. So I decided to make collages purely from these photos.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I was gonna say this definitely looks very, very familiar, and I figured this was New York City, but of course, I want to hear you, talk about, your
yeah, I
thinking that
actually
went into
made
this
it
one.
in real life. It was physical collage, and I just took a photo of it and uploaded it as an NFT.
Got it.
Um, yeah, but these were two different buildings, and then on the left, where there's a lot of graffiti, it was
Yeah.
a shop, just a small graffiti
Oh,
shop
okay.
that looked really aesthetic to me. So I
Yeah.
thought, and this golden frame, I found it in one of the magazines.
Cool.
Yeah, back in the time, I used to make collages physically rather than digitally, and I had a big stack of magazines, and I just cut out elements that I thought I would use in the collages, and it
Wow.
was a vibe.
Yeah. That definitely looks pretty cool. Yeah, what this looked like to me in the beginning, it looked like essentially two skyscrapers that I might see somewhere in Midtown, and I guess you could say the background. It almost looks like the inside of one of the subway cars. But yeah, this could but also like you said, could be inside of a shop. I guess a
Mhm.
decent amount of them will have like some kind of like air conditioning unit, sometimes like above,
Yeah,
whether it's like the doorway or something else. So well, some of the more older ones anyway. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, and I call it Mono City, as in like Mona Lisa and New York
Ah,
City. Mona
yeah.
Lisa probably just had a frame, so
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense now. Yeah, pretty cool. All
thanks.
right, moving forward. So, speaking of New York City subway, this one here. Now, talk about mind bending. Like, I look at this. This looks like a kaleidoscope, dreamlike type of experience here. Talk about
Mhm.
this one.
Right, so this was also made in physical version, and thanks to my art teacher, he helped me with this whole idea. Um, so he offered to print out this. The photo was it was already edited with all these colors. He suggested that I print it out on a like transparent paper and
Right.
put it on top of the photo, and then I could flip it and it would still be visible because it was like on both
Oh,
sides. So I
yeah.
experimented with this symmetry and I just put it on top of the photo and it looked pretty cool. I really
Yeah,
liked
I
it.
guess it looks like everything kind of bends at the center, like symmetrically, as they would say. So,
Yeah.
wow, that's pretty cool. All right, moving forward. Oh, there was another one up here. So, this one, face wall.
Yeah, it
Now,
kind of
yes, please.
kind of speaks for itself. Well, it's more a
Or
hair
does
wall.
it? Or does it speak for itself? I don't
Oh,
know.
does it? We don't know. Well, the wall is from New York.
Yeah.
I have this photo of a graffitied bridge or something it was. And then this hair I just found it in one of the magazines and cut it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I experimented a lot with this particular background. I kept adding more and more elements until I realized less is more in this case. And I just
Right.
put
That makes sense.
hair and then it looked just kind of done, completed.
Right. And by the way, Ito is displayed here. So was Ito did Ito like purchase the original or something like that or
Yeah, yeah, he was the original
okay.
collector.
Wow. Good stuff.
Mm.
All right. Moving forward. Now there is something up here I wanted to. Right. Malibu X.
Yeah, that was a collaboration, first one, and I haven't had any collabs since then, so you can say the last one,
Yeah.
first and last one. Um, well, you can't really tell which artwork it was based on, but if you can find nostalgia in my no, you actually can't.
Yeah. You know what it looks like here? I mean, obviously it has the moving effects. It looks like if you look at something cloudy through like a stained glass window or something. Like it kind of looks like that. So if you're looking at like one of these like colored windows in like old buildings and you like look out the window at like a car or like a park, that's kind of what it like reminds me of.
Oh, yeah, but in this case, it's so abstract. You can't really like,
Right. Yeah.
stick a label to it, like what it is.
Right.
Um,
Good
yeah, but
stuff.
what the artist did was kind of, he added this effect. Well, this square behind you can't really see a square, but it used to be.
Right.
Just made my artwork 3D and
Yeah.
added these effects on top of it. So it looks nothing like the artwork anymore, but it looks very sick.
Right. Hey, that's very very cool to look at. I gotta say. I mean, I'm probably gonna look at this one again later. It's just there's something kind of relaxing about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, good stuff. So this is called Malibu X, and Frankie, the artist you collaborated with, his is called Malibu Y. I guess that's to kind of denote, male and female artists were involved, in
yeah.
this one. Okay.
We thought it'd be a cool idea.
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. All right,
We
moving
only
forward.
sold one of them.
Oh, okay. Glitchy Ting. Okay, so speaking of the consciousness bending, you could say sensory overload. So okay,
And
so I take it Ito bought this one as well.
yeah, and this is actually the artwork that was the collab was based on, but
Oh,
it's a
okay.
bit altered because I had a like few versions of it.
Yeah.
But this was the first animated piece that I created myself, and it didn't take me a lot of effort because I used the website that creates GIFs from photos,
Right.
and I used another website to create these glitchy effects. So I
Right.
created a few, like 4 or 5 photos with like different glitchy effects, and then I
Yeah.
put them together as a GIF, and there we go.
Wow. Yeah, looking at this looks like a computer virus destroying like my computer or my laptop right
Yeah.
before I just lose all of my work. Like yeah, it really looks like a computer virus that's, really kind of just uploaded and is
Mhm.
rapidly just kind of destroying, all the software and the CPU and, just everything.
Yeah, just a
Y-
nightmare.
Yeah, it looks like a nightmare. It looks like just the shit is hitting the fan here, at least, for the computer anyway. Wow, that
Hmm.
might be a concept. This could be like a digital version of a nightmare. Wow, this is giving me ideas now.
Yeah.
There you go. Wow. All right. Yeah, like if the human mind was, let's say if the human mind was a computer and it was just having your usual, like traditional nightmare of what people usually dream of, it might look like that. So there you go. So
Hmm.
going forward, Oasia.
I'd say Oasia. It's like
Oasia? Okay.
Oasis
Oasia. Yeah, I was
and
going to say that's probably the other.
Asia.
Yeah, so what's
Yeah.
going on with Oasia here?
Um. Oh, same concept as with the New York collages.
Yeah,
The background is just a photo that I had, and
yeah,
foreground is the elements from the magazines, the
got it.
palm tree and the dog. Thought it
Yeah,
just looked nice all together,
yeah,
and
yeah, for
gave
sure.
me these oasis, exotic vibes.
Yeah. So
Dog
like,
doesn't really fit with these vibes, but dogs are
right.
cute.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, was there a specific like Asian megacity that you had in mind, with this one? Like, I don't know, like Singapore, or like Kuala Lumpur, or something like that. Because it looks very like tropical. So, like what comes to mind is like, obviously those two cities, maybe somewhere like Taipei in Taiwan, maybe Hong Kong, maybe Jakarta, like places like that.
Hmm. Um, I didn't have any in mind, but now that I look at it, it looks like some sort of a juxtaposition, maybe. As
Right.
in,
Yeah.
like, there's cities and there's exotic places, but I just put them all together.
Yeah. Very nice. All right, so we'll go through two more, and then we'll discuss kind of what's in the very near future as far as what you have planned for 2022. So, modern life here.
Right. Actually, a lot of people like this one.
Yeah.
And you can't really tell what's going on there. But believe it or not, it was based off a photo, two different photos. So
Got it.
the little squares that you can see um, throughout
Yeah, are they like tiles or something or?
uh, they were uh, discs or no,
Okay.
so basically we went to a shop where it was music shop, and there
Yeah.
was different, what's it called, these uh, I can't find the word. mm,
Was
like where
it
you
like? I'm sorry.
where you store discs, these.
Okay. Is this like something you'd probably find at like a hardware store or like an art material store, like something along those lines?
It was more like a studio,
Okay.
recording studio even. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so these are like little panels, something like
Yeah,
that.
sort of. And they all had different covers on it, and it looked really, really
Wow.
cool, aesthetic,
Yeah.
with a vibe. Uh, and the other picture was the buildings of New York, but you can't see them at all because I changed all colors. Like I flipped them,
Yeah.
so all dark colors became light colors, and vice versa.
Good stuff. All right.
And all that together just created this
Yeah.
ridiculous
Yeah.
texture, the pattern.
Yeah, for sure. All right, moving forward to our last one for today. So, this one. So, single ladies. Tell me about this one.
Well, I used Picasso's famous work, which I saw in modern Museum of Modern Art, yeah, in New York. I
Very
actually cried
nice.
when I saw it in real life because I really like Picasso's works, and I
Yeah.
never thought I would see it in real life, but I did. It was a
Yeah.
sensitive moment. Um, so I decided to make a collage with them. Uh, Found this beautiful woman in one of the magazines, cut it out, and didn't have really an idea, but just because they're all females, I thought, well, Single Lady is like a reference to Beyonce's song.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't really carry much meanings. It's just what you see, I
Yeah, but
guess.
listen, it's still pretty interesting. A lot's going on. To say the least. So, this one
Yeah,
this
in
this
the
one is definitely
background.
great as well. Yeah. And Ito bought this as well, correct?
Yeah, I'm surprised you did. I didn't really like this collage.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, listen, I guess, art is, I guess often in the eye of the beholder. So, whatever you did in this certainly made a buyer feel something. So, hey, I
I
look at that as
guess,
a win.
yeah.
Great. All right. So let me get out of the screen share right now. So, what do you have planned for 2022 as far as new art, collections? Are you doing any events or, presenting any of this in galleries or any future collaborations? Things like that.
Well, I want to build a website for myself,
Yeah.
and I've been carrying this idea of having a profile picture collection hand drawn. Because as you can see, I really like drawing characters. It's my passion. I could
Right.
do it all day long, but sometimes I struggle with motivation because like if no one wants it, then I don't want it. But I want to make these profile pictures for people to use to set
Right.
as their avatars.
Right.
So I want to create a website where you can kind of make orders and customize like what you want to have on your profile pictures and ideas, and then I would draw it, and that's how it would work. That's a long-term idea, but I need to come up with how to build all that.
Sure. And by the way, if you need any help as far as like introductions, or if you want to collaborate with, certain artists or perhaps certain NFT galleries, I'd be more than happy to send you some names and make an introduction on your behalf. I think it's great that a lot of NFT artists are
Really
coming
nice.
out and doing this because historically there's a lot of barriers to entry into fine art. So like often you need a gallery. And by the way, this is a gallery that you also have to split your profits with. Often to be,
Mm.
very profitable, you essentially need a very almost like wealthy clientele, to say the least. And you kind of have to go through an incredible amount of, hoops. And, there is, there are certain parts kind of an uphill battle. And I think the good thing about the NFT space is that it really removes a lot of those traditional barriers of entry. So now you
Yeah.
can be an artist very autonomous. You can essentially promote your own work digitally as an artist and almost as and as a gallery. You can essentially
Mhm.
avoid a lot of that traditional overhead because now you can do this on a blockchain, and you can essentially not have to be dependent or rely on certain galleries, at least perhaps at first when you're doing this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. NFTs are really helping artists in that sense.
Yeah.
And I've been offered to showcase my art in an art exhibition. It's called Artissimo, I believe, and they should be having their exhibition soon. I'm not sure about the dates, but I'll just send them artwork and just let them
Yeah.
carry on with it.
Absolutely. And if you're able to present at any of those events and everything's confirmed, please send the info my way. I can let the viewership know, as far as where online, or if they're or and even for those based in the UK, perhaps where they can find your art and where you'll be presenting it, and some of the other things that are going on.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm trying to find like more um, companies that do these exhibitions.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there are a few, and there's more and more coming up. So, like I said, I'd be more than happy to make a call or an introduction. I can send you a few names, and you can let me know if these are people or groups that you would like to speak with.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Anytime. Well, listen, Julia, Latvia's Got Talent. Um, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show today to, discuss the ins and outs and the nuances, of your psychedelic and, visually, mind-bending, sensory, uh, sensory transforming art. It's very, very cool. And, looking at it once, twice, three times, there's almost like something different you take away from it each time, because I think because there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of, I guess you could say, bending of those traditional things like colors and textures and stuff like that. So you keep looking at this like, oh wow, this is you know, you can kind of like pick out different things as time goes on. So yeah, like I said, thank you very much for coming on today, and
Thank you
providing
for
the time
having
to
me.
talk about this anytime. And I'm looking forward to having you back on in the future, and we can pick up from here and talk about what else you'll be working on, and everything else you have in store for the future.
Yeah, I'll just keep creating these characters, putting my emotions, my thoughts on
Right.
digital paper, and
Sure.
uploading new works. That's the plan.
Awesome. Well, you know what? Keep me updated with all the happenings, and I'll be sure to also tell some of my friends and colleagues about who are looking at NFT art to check out your collection. So again, thank you very much for coming on today.
Thank you. It was a
All
pleasure.
right. Yes, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. And you.
Take care.
Bye.